Lin Wanner set off from the broken yard of her hometown early in the morning. She sat in the shaking cow truck and turned around in her brain thinking about life in the palace. She was born in a cold gate and heard the stories of the palaces mentioned by the elderly in the village from a young age. Those gorgeous robes and grand banquets always make people's eyes warm. But she also knew that the door in the palace was not something that the outside could imagine. As the bull truck drove into the palace door, she took a deep breath, cheered up, told herself that she had to go step by step. There were several two-commissioned men standing in front of the palace gate. Their eyes swept over the new palace girls, with no expression on their faces. Lin Wanner followed the team and the first thing she saw was the high-end hall wall and the stone yard. As the sun shone down, a dazzling light reflected. She narrowed her eyes and thought to herself that this place looked golden and blue, with a sense of coldness. A slightly older palace lady next to her pushed her, "Hurry, all newcomers have to go to the backyard to report it. Don't be stunned." Lin Wan pointed to the sound and speeded up her pace. "Her name is Xiaohua. The palace lady looks like she is in her 20s, and she has a light makeup on her face, and she is anxious when she speaks. Sister, I'm a newcomer, and my name is Lin Wanner. Thank you for your reminder just now." Xiaohua glanced at her. "The newcomer is like this, and her eyes are straight. Remember, there are many rules in the palace, and something happens if you accidentally." They walked into the backyard, where there were already dozens of palace ladies roaming. Everyone was lowered and wearing a uniform and clean blue robes, which looked neat and single. Lin Wan was at the end of the team, her heart was up and down. At the front of the team, a manager in charge was very clear and shouted loudly. The girl in Xingdong heard it. "This is the back palace, the world of the emperor and the empress. Your mission is to serve everyone well. Whoever secretly snatches will punish you to kneel down to the ancestral hall." Lin Wan heard those words and felt a chill rising from the bottom of her feet. She was born in a farmer and her parents taught her to be patient early on, but the rules here seemed to be 10 times more serious than those in the family. As the team slowly moved forward, she was assigned to the laundry room to clean the robe and clothes. A palace girl next to her named Alan, and said to her in a low voice, This job is not light. If it is not washed clean, the manager will punish you." Lin Wanner picked up a basin of water and started to knead the laundry. Her fingers were soon reddened by cold water. She raised her head and saw several palace girls around her, whispering something. One of them is particularly handsome and has a vigor-like atmosphere. "She is Zhou Yanro, right?" Lin Wan heard this name and entered the palace a few months earlier than her. Everyone said that she was beautiful. Zhou Yanro noticed Lin Wan's gaze, smiled slightly, and walked over. "You are new, don't you think it's too big to be tempted?" Her voice was soft, like spring breeze blowing on her face. Lin Wanner stopped the work in her hand and stood up to show off. "Sister Yanro, I am Lin Wanner. I came in just now, and I'm not familiar with everything." Zhou Yanro squatted down, helped her pick up a piece of cloth, rub it on the side and said, "Don't call me sister, I'm all a palace girl like you. Remember, the human relationships in the palace are more complicated than those on the outside. If someone sees you, they will find ways to make you feel sad." When she said, she glanced at Alan beside her, and Alan immediately lowered her head and did not dare to answer. Lin Wanner felt nervous and she realized that Zhou Yanro was not talking casually. Sure enough, not long after, Alan suddenly said "oh" and accidentally drew a basin of dirty water on Lin Wanner's skirt. "I'm sorry, newcomer, I didn't mean it." Alan apologized in panic, glanced at Zhou Yanro, as if waiting for her to react. Zhou Yanro was surprised and said, "Alan, why are you so careless? Apologize to Wanner." Lin Wanner looked at her wet skirt and thought to herself that it was clearly intentional. She took a deep breath and held back her anger. "It's okay, Sister Alan, I'll just go and change some clothes myself." She turned around and started to count. Just then, Zhou Yanro's eyes couldn't hide her ambitions, and behind that smile, she seemed to be trying to find her. Lin Wanya returned to the dormitory, changed her clean clothes, sat on the bed, and saw the scene of becoming a monk in her brain. Before leaving, her father said, 1. There is a dragon's den in the palace, so remember not to trust people easily. She is now truly here. In the afternoon, there was a small banquet in the palace, and several palace ladies were called to serve tea and pour water. Lin Wanya was also assigned to the past, and she carefully held the plaque to avoid the gaze of the high-level palace ladies. Suddenly, an elderly palace lady called her, "Hey, new, your tea is too full. If it is bad, who will be responsible?" Lin Wan stopped calmly, "I will be careful." The girl hummed and left. Lin Wani took the opportunity to observe the surroundings. Zhou Yenro was chatting with another palace girl. They were laughing and always had low voices. Lin Wan thought that this back palace was like a pool of stagnant water, with a flat surface and a storm at the bottom. She decided that she could not be so passive again and had to find a chance to get closer. During the evening, she sat in the corner of the restaurant. Next to it was Xiaohua. Xiaohua asked in a low voice, "1. You are not angry about what happened just now, right? That man in Alan always loves to tease newcomers." Lin Wan snatched her head, "How can I be angry about? Sister, how long have you been in the palace? What should I pay attention to?" Xiaohua bit her mouth and said in a low voice, "I have been here for 2 years. Remember, don't bother with someone." Zhou Yenro looks gentle, but she is actually very scheming. She made a new palace girl melt all night last time, but the palace girl accidentally hit her. Lin Wanner heard it and her heart sank. She glanced at Zhou Yenro's direction. The woman was eating elegantly without any trace. Lin Wan dressed up and said indifferently, "Then I have to be careful. Sister, if you don't mind, I will learn more rules with you in the future." Xiaohua smiled, "Okay, everyone has to help each other. However, remember the grudges in the palace will not explode at any time." As night fell, everyone went back to the room to rest. Lin Wanner was lying on the bed and hearing the sound of snatching birds outside. She closed her eyes and sang in her brain to calculate the next step. She can no longer be scattered like a fool. She has to observe more people and find a reliable ally. Let me tell you tomorrow, take a sleep first and keep your energy energetic. The palace girl on the bed next door turned over and murmured in a low voice, "This place always makes people unable to sleep." Lin Wanner didn't reply, but just listened quietly to the night, and felt more and more that the days in the palace just began. Lin Wanner didn't sleep well all night, and she turned around and heard the croaker, and her heart was always filled with the daylight. The murmur of the girl on the bed next door stopped and she closed her eyes in a daze. At the beginning of the morning, she got up before the sky was clear. The rules in the palace are to get up early, and the room must be cleaned up before eating early. She put on the blue cloth clothes and walked out quietly, looking for Xiaohua's bed. Xiaohua was sitting on the bed, rubbing her eyes. "Wan Yi, is that early?" she asked in a low voice, glanced around, afraid of waking up others. Lin Wan clicked her to the corner and said in a low voice, "Sister, I heard you talk about something in the palace yesterday, and I always feel like I don't understand anything. Can you tell me more?" Xiaohua glanced at her, sniffed, and pulled her to the window. "Okay, but it's quick, I'll still have to go to the laundry room to report it." She rubbed her hands and began to say, "The rules in the palace are simple and difficult to do. It's more complicated than you think." The high-level palace ladies and the superintendent were staring at us. "If you accidentally offend who you can, they can leave you with endless food." Lin Wanner heard it and said nothing. She remembered Zhou Yenro's pretended gentle smile yesterday and asked, "Why do people like Zhou Yenro play these kinds of flowers?" Yesterday, Alan swept me with water, and I could tell that it was her point. The little flower pressed a low voice and glanced at the door. "You said right. Zhou Yenro will pull people soon after she entered the palace." She heard that there was a two supervised behind her back, so she dared to be so arrogant. They just wanted to find new people to help, and actually asked you to go with them. If you don't follow them, they would want to make you feel bad. There are more errands than others, or you're punished. Lin Wanner felt that her heart sank and she didn't show it. She asked casually, "Then how to avoid it?" "You can't hide all the time." Xiaohua thought for a while and said, Don't be anxious to express yourself. Observe more and speak less. Like the laundry work, you can see who is close to whom you are doing. Zhou Yanro often chats with a few new palace girls. When they talk, they always turn their backs on the manager. Also, when serving tea, be careful not to let the tea go. If it is bad, the higher-level palace girls will say you did it on purpose. She paused and added, remember, find someone who is reliable. Listen to others and don't be anxious to talk about yourself. They were chatting. It was getting late. Lin Wanner and Xiaohua walked towards the laundry room together. The smoke in the yard was not dispersed, and the ground was moist. They lined up the team, and a pot of clothes piled up there. Lin Wanner picked up a pile of silk robes and started to rub and wash. As soon as my finger touches cold water, it will get numb. Not long afterwards, Alan and a few palace ladies walked in. They smiled and circled in a small circle. Zhou Yanro was also in the middle of her head, and she was talking in a low voice while washing her clothes. Lin Wanya pretended to be careful in washing clothes and took a secret glance. I only saw Zhou Yanro saying to a new palace girl, Xiaomei, you are late, don't worry. I will teach you how to wash these expensive fabrics. If it is washed, the manager will punish you. The new palace girl bowed and thanked her. Alan answered from the side, yes, Sister Yanro is the best. Last time I made a mistake, she also told me. If you have something to do, it would be fine to find her. Lin Wan heard it and thought it was too fake. She turned her head and asked Xiaohua, Sister, look at how they are they pulling people? Xiaohua replied in a low voice, yes. They want to pull a few more, so it will be even more powerful in the palace. Be careful not to let them notice you. The laundry room was busy until noon, and they stopped. Lin Wanner wiped her sweat and followed Xiaohua to serve tea. There was a small gathering in the afternoon, and several concubines were chatting there. They walked into the hall with their trays carefully. Lin Wanner held the teacup and glanced at Zhou Yanro from time to time. Zhou Yanro was standing by Alan, serving a high-level palace girl. The high-level palace girl smiled, and Zhou Yanro responded immediately, Empress, drink this tea to quench your thirst. Lin Wan poured tea aside, her hands were steady, and she heard Alan's voice saying to another palace girl, if you go with us, you won't eat like you are new. The palace girl was suspicious and pointed. Lin Wanner thought to herself, this circle is expanding. When she served the tea, she deliberately avoided Zhou Yanro's gaze, but she still noticed it. Wan Yi, are you tired? Zhou Yanro suddenly turned around and asked with a smile. Lin Wanner stopped and said in the ceremony, it's okay, I'm tactful. Zhou Yanro approached the spot and said in a low voice, the new ones are prone to making mistakes. If there is anything wrong, tell me. I can help. Lin Wanner was so alert in her heart that she smiled on the surface, thank you sister, but I'm fine. Sister, you're busy with yours. She turned around and stood there with Xiaohua. Xiaohua asked in a low voice, have she talked to you again? Well, she wants to pull me. Lin Wanner softened her voice, sister, what should you do if you tell me? Xiaohua thought for a while and said, don't rush to refuse, don't answer immediately. Make a mess and ask her more. Wait until you figure it out before you decide. Remember, the power in the palace is like water, with a flat surface and a whirlpool underneath. You have to calm yourself first. The afternoon party was over and they went back to the room to rest. Lin Wanya and Xiaohua found a corner to sit down. They had some fun and continued to chat. Sister, I understand now. Those substandards are just for us to guard against each other, said Lin Wan. Xiaohua points her head, yes. High-level palace girls monitor us, Zhou Yanro monitors high-level people. If they want to stand firm, they have to pull people. If you want to expand your skills, you have to start with small things. For example, I know a few people in the kitchen and they will give me delicious food. Lin Wanner heard it and thought it made sense. Then how can I find someone who is reliable? Start with me first. Xiaohua smiled, I won't hurt you. Pay more attention to those parents who don't love to be in trouble. They may be more reliable than those who love to be in love. They chatted until dark and the lights lit outside. Lin Wanner felt that she had learned a lot and was calculating the next step in her brain. You can no longer be moved, so you have to slowly explore Zhou Yanrou's circle and bring your relationship with Xiaohua closer. When she went back to bed at night, she lay down and said to Xiaohua, "Sister, thank you. I learned a lot today. I have to get up early tomorrow, so let's go together." Xiaohua replied, "Okay, go to bed. The days in the palace are getting longer." The night was getting deeper and the room was calm. Lin Wan closed her eyes, feeling that the road to the palace was about to open. Lin Wanner woke up early in the morning. The sky was not bright yet. She only heard sporadic breathing sounds in the room. She stood up with a light hand and glanced at Xiaohua's bed. Xiaohua was turning around and rubbing her eyes and sitting up. "Wan Yi, is it so early?" she asked in a low voice, and her voice was sleepy. "Well, you must not forget the rules of getting up early." Lin Wanner replied, holding Xiaohua's hand, and the two walked quietly to the yard. The night dew was not dry yet, and my feet stepped on the moist stone slab, making a slight snap sound. As they walked around and Lin Wan remembered what she said last night, "Sister, I have to remember those things you taught me yesterday. You must be careful every step in the palace." Xiaowada tied her sleeves and said, "Yes, stay calm first. Before going to the laundry room, we go to the kitchen to get some breakfast. If we can get along, we can avoid the crowd." They turned into the kitchen, and the few palace ladies were busy boiling water. A slightly older palace girl saw Xiaohua and greeted her with a smile. "Xiaohua, morning. This is a fresh ox, you can take it." Lin Wanner answered, thanked her and asked Xiaohua in a low voice, "Sister, who is this person? How do you know?" Xiaohua took a bite of the puff and said in a low voice, "She is Chunmei, helping her in the kitchen. People like her don't like being lively, and she remembers it in her heart the last time I gave her something." After eating, they headed straight to the laundry room. The yard was filled with smoke and the clothes were piled up. Lin Wanner picked up a basin of silk robe and started washing. Her fingers were numb and she didn't stop, and her eyes glanced at Zhou Yanrou from time to time. Several of them gathered together again, and Alan smiled and said, "Sister Yanrou, you have to serve that concubine today? I heard that she is very picky." Zhou Yanrou smiled slightly and replied, "Yes, but I have experience. You are new, learn from me, don't make any mistakes." As soon as she finished speaking, she turned to Lin Wanner. "Wan, you will also listen. There is a party in the afternoon, so you can't serve tea. If the water is gone, the concubine will not be happy and we can't even take it." Lin Wan stopped, put it on and listened carefully, and pointed out, "Thank you so much, sister, I will pay attention." She felt alert in her heart, and she was actually trying to investigate. She continued to wash clothes, pretending to be careful, and heard Alan's voice say to another palace lady, "Look at Lin Wan, she's dressed very well. Yesterday I saw her hiding from us, and maybe she wanted to fuck her alone." Zhou Yanrou didn't answer, but just smiled and glanced at Lin Wanner's direction. The laundry room was busy until noon, and they stopped. Lin Wanner wiped her sweat and went to serve tea with Xiaohua. In the afternoon we had a gathering in the flower hall, several concubines sat and chatted, and the fragrance of tea floated in the air. They lined up and Lin Wan picked up one with a hot tea cup in it. As soon as he entered the flower hall, Zhou Yanrou walked up to the front and served the high-level concubine. "Empress, this tea is freshly brewed, you try it," she said softly, and Alan followed behind to help her get some fun. Lin Wani stood beside her, waiting to reach her. At this time, Zhou Yanrou suddenly turned around and pointed at Lin Wanner and said, "Wan, come here. Be careful, the Empress doesn't like to shake tea." Lin Wanner walked over and calmly picked up the plate. But Zhou Yanrou touched her sleeve lightly, shook the plate slightly, and a few drops of tea poured out. The concubine browed, "What's going on?" She was so careless. Zhou Yanrou immediately put on a panic. "Oh, Wanner, didn't you feel stable? I just wanted to help you, but I didn't expect." She glanced at the concubine, as if she was hinting. Lin Wanner felt nervous and had no trouble with her hands. She knelt down and gave a gift. Empress, I'm the one who failed. Please explain. The concubine snatched her hands. Please pay attention next time. Zhou Yenro took the opportunity to say to the palace girl next to her, look, this is always the case for the newcomer. I would have taught her more if I had known. At the head of the palace girl, Alan echoed, yes, Sister Yenro, you are kind-hearted and always help others. Lin Wanner stood up and retreated to the side, thinking that it was clearly intentional. She glanced at Xiaohua in the corner, and her eyes signaled herself not to worry. As the party continued, she walked carefully with another tray. At this time, a palace lady named Li Tang approached her and asked in a low voice, Wan Yi, what happened to you just now? Sister Zhou Yenro said that you were accidentally careful, and I saw her moving hands. Lin Wanner replied in a low voice, I'm fine. It's just that the things in the palace must be seen clearly. Lin Wan was angry, I'm new, too. I heard that Zhou Yenro pulled people very quickly. But I don't want to be with them, I always feel intimate. What about you, do you have a reliable person? Yes, Sister Xiaohua taught me a lot. Lin Wanner said, looking at Zhou Yenro. Zhou Yenro was spreading a conversation with Alan, then Lin Wan, I just love to have sex with her for a while. Whenever something happens, who will help her? Alan pointed, yes, yesterday I saw her hiding from us, maybe she wanted to climb a high branch. As the words were spread, several palace ladies began to speak privately. Lin Wan heard that it was okay to just do it, so she turned to chat with Lin. Liang Yi, how do you do it? Are there any questions? She asked naturally and tried to get closer. Li Ting thought for a while, where's me, I will listen less. Like Sister Chunmei in the kitchen, she is a good person, and I often go to help. Xiaohua walked over and said, Wan, by the way, we went to the kitchen to find Chunmei in the evening. She said there were new fruits, so she avoided these idiotic words. Lin Wanyan pointed, okay, let's go together. The afternoon gathering ended, and they packed up their trays. Zhou Yenro approached Lin Wanner and smiled and said, Wan Yi, I didn't mean it for the afternoon. If you have anything wrong, tell me, I can talk about my feelings. Lin Wan smiled back, thank you sister, I can handle it myself. But in the palace, everyone has to help each other, right? Zhou Yenro's eyes flashed, yes, it's right to help each other. She turned away, Alan followed, and said in a low voice, she doesn't love, let's not care. Lin Wan and Xiaohua returned to the room. On the way, she asked in a low voice, sister, do you think Zhou Yenro wants to isolate me? Yes, she realized that you didn't have the same line as her, so she wanted to start first. Xiaohua replied, but you should pay a lot. Remember to find more people like Lin and Chunmei. In the evening, they went to the kitchen to find Chunmei. The spring plum gave some fruits and ate them. There are so many small movements in the palace. Chunmei said, you have to stand firm first if you are new. Like me, you can live a life with a low voice. Lin Wanner heard it, and said nothing, and thought about the next step. You can't be moved anymore, you have to find a way to counterattack, but you can't be anxious. They chatted until late at night, and the room lights were still on. Lin Wanyan lay down on the bed and said to Xiaohua, sister, let's continue tomorrow. Let's walk slowly in the palace. Xiaohua responded, yes, come slowly. The night was getting colder, and they calmed down and prepared to face the new day. Lin Wanner slept dreamlessly until the sky lit up slightly. She turned over and sat up, glanced at Xiaohua and stretched her waist on the bed. Sister, good morning. I remembered everything about last night. I had to be nervous. She said lightly, getting up and opening the door. In the outer yard, dew was stained on the leaves, and the wind blew, making people feel refreshed. Xiaohua rubbed her eyes, got up and put on her clothes. Yes, take the action early. Remember what Sister Chunmei said last night, that those rumors could be sent to the venue. Let's go to the kitchen to find her and little brother to discuss together. They washed up briefly and walked towards the kitchen with buckets. On the way, Lin Wani lowered her head and thought, there will definitely not be a good person on Zhou Yenro, so she has to start first. When they arrived at the kitchen, Chun Mei was pointing at several small palace ladies to boil the fire. When she saw Lin Wanya and Xiaohua, she waved to her. "You are here just in time, and you haven't prepared everything early. Little is coming soon, let's talk about what happened last night." After a while, Little hurried into the door, with fatigue on his face. "I heard some voices last night." Zhou Yenro was talking, saying, "Lin Wan, I love to have sex, I'm afraid I want to climb up the top." Lin Waner took the hot tits from Chun Mei and replied while eating, "I know she wants to isolate me, but I can't sit and wait. Sister, let's think of ways. In the kitchen, we can use the time to organize food to quietly send other palace ladies. Let them doubt Zhou Yenro's sincerity by themselves." Xiaohua pointed, "Yes, Chun Mei, you are here, just right. We said that Zhou Yenro deliberately touched my sleeve last time in the flower hall, which made me feel a little sad. It's not helping, but using a tiny." Chun Mei cut the vegetables and interrupted, "Good idea, but it has to be more tactful. Don't let people think we are provoking trouble, just talk about the facts, let them think about it themselves." Lieutenant thought for a while, "I can start with a new palace girl first." They heard that Zhou Yenro pulled people quickly, but she didn't know how she calculated behind her back. "I went to tell Ame that Ame was straightforward and could be conveyed." They were chatting and rushing around, and soon the kitchen became hot. Lin Wan picked up a basket of fruit and pretended to put it in. She said to Ame next to her, "Sister Ame, have you heard that? Zhou Yenro said that it was heartless about the last time she was in the flower shop, but I think her actions were a bit strange. Usually she takes care of newcomers, why did she pick that time?" Ame was stunned and stopped the work in her hand. "Is that right? I also think she was talking smoothly. Yesterday she took me to serve tea, but I almost got beaten by my concubine." The news spread like water waves, and several palace ladies began to speak privately. Chun Mei glanced at it and said to Lin Wan in a low voice, "Look, that's all. Don't say more, so as not to reveal your pockets." Lin Waner pointed and turned around and continued to work, thinking in her heart that this was stable. At noon, they had to go to the laundry room to help. Lin Waner was washing clothes and paying attention to Zhou Yenro. Zhou Yenro came in with Alan, smiling on her face, "Everyone is busy. Waner, why are you so early today?" She was wearing thorns. Lin Waner pretended not to hear it, and she rubbed her clothes and replied, "Sister, I just want to learn more and help her get busy early. I heard Miss Xiaohua last night that it is always good to be careful in the palace." Zhou Yenro's eyes flashed, and Alan answered, "Yes, sister, you always remind us. Waner, you have to learn with me, don't always run away by yourself." Lin Waner smiled, "Thank you, sister, for your guidance. But I see, Sister Zhou, you are also busy, so you have to serve that concubine at the afternoon party, right? Last time I learned how you were, and served tea with a stable meal." She said it naturally, but actually asked what happened last time. Zhou Yenro browsed slightly, "That's good. I'll teach you more next time. Don't let people say we're not a cliché." As soon as the voice fell, Alan suddenly said to another palace girl, "I heard that Sister Zhou was kind-hearted last time. Who knows that Wan Yi is not in love?" The palace girl snatched her head, "Is that right? I just heard Ame from the kitchen saying that Sister Zhou was a little weird when she was wielding." Zhou Yenro heard it, her face changed, and she hurriedly turned, "Alan, don't say nonsense. We all have to help each other." The afternoon party was held at the flower hall again. Lin Waner prepared the platter early and followed everyone in. This time she paid special attention. As soon as the concubine sat down, she calmly served tea. "Empress, this is freshly brewed tea, please use it." Her movements were smooth and unshakable. Zhou Yenro was serving her, her eyes kept glancing at her, trying to find opportunities. The opportunity came soon. The concubine asked the performance of the palace girls. Zhou Yenro smiled and said, "Empress, one has made rapid progress in the past few days. She has changed the last little thing." Lin Wan heard the two remarks in her words and answered immediately, I only then did I know the rules in the palace because of the instructions of Sister Zhou. Like the last incident, I might be that everyone was too busy and misunderstood. She said indifferently, and the palace girl on the scene glanced at Zhou Yanro more. The concubine pointed, well, you all have to stay in harmony. During the meeting, Lin Wanner took the initiative to help her get along with her, showing that she was particularly generous. Lien said to her lightly, you are a good move. She wants to frame you, but she is blocked by you. Lin Wanner replied in a low voice, come slowly, calm your feet first. Zhou Yanro was unwilling to give up and grabbed Alan after the meeting, then Lin Wan is getting more and more slippery. We have to think of a way to distinguish. Alan echoed, yes, she is now familiar with the people in the kitchen, and the news is spread quickly. Lin Wan's hearing this, it's okay to dress up, and she left Xiaohua. Sister, today is good. We'll get some extra next time. In the evening, they went back to the room to rest. Lin Wan said to Xiaohua, if this continues, I feel like I can stand firm. Sister Chunmei and Lin are reliable. We will continue to pay attention tomorrow. Xiaohua pointed at her head, yes, the road in the palace will be walked step by step, and there will always be a turnover. They blew the lights, and the night was deeper, ready to welcome another busy day. The morning sun shone through the pane. Lin Wanner glanced at him and saw that Xiaohua had already sat up and rubbed her eyes. Sister, have you woken up early? Did you sleep well last night? Xiaohua said, go up and took the basin of water. They cleaned and cleaned, put on their uniforms in the palace, and prepared to leave. What do you think about what happened last night? Lin Wan asked with her voice was light, afraid of disturbing the palace girl next to her. The side of Zhou Yanro is very quiet, we have to keep an eye on it. Sister Chunmei said that there is a banquet today and the kitchen will be busy. Xiaowadu opened the door, yes, go to the kitchen to help you early, so she met Sister Chunmei and Lin. She might hear new news. They walked towards the kitchen with their trunks. On the way, they met several palace ladies in a hurry. Everyone was too busy with the banquet. When they arrived at the kitchen, Chunmei was pointing everyone to cut vegetables and burn the fire. When she saw them entering the door, she waved immediately, you are here just in time, and the banquet is not ready yet. Come and help. Lianer was also washing vegetables, seeing Lin Wanner, and said in a low voice, I heard last night that Zhou Yanro was shaking her brain again. She pulled Alan to talk, saying that you love it too much, and I'm afraid you want to jump over everyone and directly boss young princess. Lin Wan picked up a kitchen knife and replied while cutting vegetables, I know what she thinks. We just calmed down last night, and she couldn't help it. We had to try to block her mouth, but don't let those new palace ladies believe her. Xiaohua mixed sauce on the side and interrupted, Sister Chunmei, you said, we were preparing for the banquet, I just remind everyone. Just say the truth, let them think about it yourself. Chunmei clicked the head and stir-fried the dishes in the pot, good idea, but be careful. There are so many people at the banquet, and they will reveal their food if they are accidentally exposed. Little, pay more attention to Alan when you go to serve tea. She always follows Zhou Yanro, to ensure that there is any swaying movement. Li Ting responded and picked up the tea plate and left. There was a hot spring in the kitchen, and everyone was busy with their hands and feet. Lin Wan glanced at Ame coming in and rushed over to help. Sister Ame, are you responsible for the banquet's fruit plate? Did you hear the last time? She said naturally. Ame was stunned and stopped the plate in her hand. I heard it. Zhou Yanro said you want to fly alone, but I think she loves it. Yesterday she took me to the flower shop, but I caused me to serve tea. Lin Wanner smiled, yes, everyone is busy, and it's difficult to avoid misfortune. Let's just say, don't add fuel to the fire. As the voice fell, Alan looked in from the door and glanced around his eyes. Sister Chunmei, what do you need to add to the soup for the banquet? I'll ask Sister Zhou. Chunmei said, add some ginger, concubine loves that mouthful. Alan pointed his head and turned his head to look at Lin Wanner. Wan, are you early today? Don't be too busy to get tired of it. Sister Zhou said, there are many new palace girls in the palace, so they have to help each other. Lin Wani pretended that she didn't hear the thorn, and replied, "Thank you for your care. I just want to learn more so as not to drag everyone back. The method she taught me last time is very stable." Alan's mouth twitched and said, "That's good. Sister Zhou always thinks about everyone, so don't let people misunderstand her kindness." She went out after she said that. Lin Wan was waiting for her to walk away and said to Xiaohua in a low voice, "She is here to look at her mouth. Zhou Yanro must want to use a tit for the banquet again." Xiaohua looked at the door. "Sister, we have to be careful. When we serve the concubine, please pay more attention to her actions." Soon, the banquet preparations were almost done. They carried the tray and followed everyone to the flower hall. The tables and chairs were already installed in the flower hall, and the concubines had not arrived yet, and the palace ladies were busy with the final arrangement. Zhou Yanro stood beside her and pointed, while Alan was whispering beside her. Lin Wan's dressing was fine, so she went to help put the vase. "Sister Zhou, where should I put this flower? Last time you said it would look better if it was put higher." She spoke actively, and Zhou Yanro smiled slightly. "Yes, let it go there. Wanner, you learn quickly, but don't forget the rules in the palace, don't always make decisions." Lin Wan pointed, "I remember. Sister Duowei teaches." With a faint response in her words, she secretly observed Zhou Yanro's expression. Lin Wan walked over and touched her arm lightly. "I just heard Alan and another palace girl say, you love Batu. Think of a way." Lin Wan's voice softly said, "Don't worry, we'll wait for the concubine to come and see the opportunity." After a while, the concubine came in with her servants, and everyone knelt down and went to celebrate. The banquet began, and the palace ladies served tea and delighted. Lin Wan calmly held the plate and walked forward. "Empress, please use tea." Her movements were flowing and the concubine pointed at her head. At this moment, Zhou Yanro followed with another plate. "Empress, this is the newly made osmanthus cake, try it," she said, glanced at Lin Wanner, as if she was waiting for the opportunity. The opportunity came soon, and the concubine asked the palace girl, "How have you been like this recently? Are there any special care?" Zhou Yanro immediately answered, "Empress, one has made a lot of progress, but she is sometimes too impatient, and may something go wrong." Lin Wan heard it and replied immediately, "Thank you Sister Zhou to remind me. I want to learn more so as not to drag everyone down. Last time, I said that it was because everyone was busy, so there was a mistake." She said it relaxed. The concubine heard it and glanced at the two of them. "Well, you have to take care of each other. You have to take care of each other." Zhou Yanro was unwilling to give up, and took advantage of the empty paper where she served the food and said to Alan's novel, "Looking at her like that, she will always be at risk. When you go and tell the palace girl there, she will be the concubine, don't let everyone get along." Alan pointed and turned over the past verbal words. Lin Wanner glanced from the corner and looked for Chunmei tightly. "Sister Chunmei, go and tell Lin, don't let those rumors spread. Let's calm down first." Chunmei blinked. "Okay, I'll go." While the banquet was underway, the atmosphere seemed peaceful and actually undercurrents. Lin Wan took the initiative to help her drink the wine glass, keeping her eyes on Zhou Yanro's movements. Suddenly, Zhou Yanro failed to pretend and touched the concubine's sleeve. Lin Wan's eyes were quick, and she stretched out her hand and calmed down. "Sister Zhou, be careful." Zhou Yanro put on a thankful look. "Thank you, Wan." But there was a discomfort in her eyes. When the banquet was about to end, the concubine stood up and left, and the palace ladies began to clean up. Lin Wanyan grabbed Xiaohua. "Today she tried that trick again, but we didn't get it. After we went back, we had to discuss with Sister Chunmei how to counteract." Xiaohua wiped her hands. "Yes, the water in the palace is so deep, we come step by step." They packed up and walked out of the flower hall. Chunmei and Lai followed behind. "Wan Yi, this won't work. Zhou Yanro's tricks are getting more and more refined. We have to think of a way to let her show her foot," Chunmei said. Lin Wan Yi pointed. "I know. Let's look at it tomorrow and come slowly." As the night became deeper, they returned to the room and clicked on the lights. Xiaohua poured water. Sister, I've been tired for a day, so let's take a break. There's something going on tomorrow. Lin Wan sat down and said lightly, well, let's take a break. The road in the palace is not easy, we have to continue. Feng blew in from outside the window, with some striking mood, and they were ready to wait for another day. The night was getting deeper, and the lights in the room emitted a warm light. Lin Wanya and Xiaohua sat on the bed, chatting in a low voice. Chunmei and Liquor also came in quietly to close the door. The four of them surrounded them, and Xiaohua spoke first. Sister, what should I do today when you said last night? Zhou Yanro is so serene, we have to start first. Lin Wana rubbed her eyebrows, and her voice was calm. Yes, don't worry first. The concubine will have a tea party after the morning court tomorrow, so we can start from the kitchen. Let Lin go and listen. Alan always follows Zhou Yanro, so that she can be a break. Chunmei clicked her head and poured a glass of water on her side and said, I think it's okay. After the dinner last night, Alan's 14 spoke, saying that Wanner was in love with her. The ice changed when the new palace girls heard it. We had to clarify quickly so that they would not stand in a wrong team. Li Ting lit beside her. I can go and help. During the afternoon tea party, my tea was ripe and smooth. Those new chats. Talking about the facts makes them know Zhou Yanro's true face. Lin Wansmith smiled. Good idea, but be careful. Don't let Zhou Yanro observe, we will do things as usual. They chatted and decided to divide the labor. Lin Wansmith was responsible for observing the silence of the concubine, Xiaohua helped the kitchen to communicate, and Chunmei stared at Alan. As soon as the sky was dawn, they got up early and rushed to the kitchen after washing. On the way, Xiaohua asked in a low voice, Sister, do you really want to try what you said last night? What's the point of being exposed? Lin Wanner walked back. How can you do it if you don't try? Who doesn't want to eat here in the palace? Let's start with small matters and see how Zhou Yanro reacts. The kitchen was in full swing, and everyone was busy preparing morning tea. When Chunmei saw them entering the door, she waved, Come on, the concubine's destiny needs to add fresh fruits. You, go and cut vegetables. Lin Wan picked up the knife and said to Xiaohua while cutting the apple, Remember, you will go and chat with Lin to ask if there was any new news last night. Xiaohua responded and turned to wash vegetables. Not long afterwards, Alan shook in with a basin in his hand. She glanced at Lin Wanner and said, Wan, how early? Sister Zhou said you were busy last night and asked me to help me. Lin Wanner pretended that she didn't hear any thorns, so she replied, Thank you for your care. I just want to learn more, so as not to make any mistakes. At the last banquet, I used the method of placing the plate very well. Alan hummed, Is that right? Sister Zhou always does it for everyone, but no one misunderstood her feelings. After she said that, she turned around and muttered to a new palace girl in a low voice. Chunmei heard it at the edge of the pot, walked over tightly, and said to Lin Wan in a low voice. She started again. The new palace girl was Xiao Chui, and she just entered the palace last night. I will go and tell her clearly later. Lin Wan pointed, Okay, go. Just talk naturally, just chat. Tell her that Zhou Yanro failed to pretend to be a little bit bad last time, which hurt her concubine. Xiaohua came with tea at this time and interrupted, Sister, I just heard from little one that Alan was talking in the room last night, said you want to stick to the head. Those new letters have come to your heart, I think you love to be proud. Lin Wan stopped the work in her hand and lowered her voice, then let them see each other with your eyes. Zhou Yanro's handwriting will reveal her food sooner or later. We will take the initiative to help and reveal her a little bit of her foot. After they were ready, they carried the tray to the flower hall. On the way, Li Ting came up, Wan, I just chatted with Xiao Chui. She said Alan told her that you always make your own decisions and don't care about everyone. Fortunately, I told the truth and mentioned the last banquet. She seemed to be moved. Lin Wan patted her shoulder lightly, Well done. Remember, during the tea party, please pay attention to Zhou Yanro. She loves to speak in front of her concubine. In the flower hall, the concubine has not arrived yet, and everyone is busy setting up. Zhou Yanro stood beside her and pointed at Alan to put a vase. She saw Lin Wan'er coming in and smiled slightly. "Wan Yi, did you come early?" Today, the concubine was in a good mood, so don't make a mistake. Lin Wan's work was fine, and she turned around to the teacup. "Don't worry, Sister Zhou, I'll be careful. I'm much more stable now, what you taught last time." Zhou Yanro's eyes flashed. "Is that right? There are many rules in the palace, so don't be too anxious. Last night I heard that some people love to do it first. It hurt everyone as a result." She was thorned in her voice, and Alan agreed. "Yes, Sister Zhou always reminds us not to get into trouble." Lin Wan's voice was not moved and turned to Li Teng. "Li Teng, go and take the water. Remember to ask Xiao Chui, is it appropriate for her to enter the palace?" When the concubine came in, everyone knelt down and went to the ceremony. At the beginning of the tea party, Lin Wanli calmly held the plate and stepped forward to serve tea. "Empress, please use it." The concubine clicked her head, and she retreated to a side, paying attention to Zhou Yanro. Zhou Yanro followed with a little thought. "Empress, this is a fresh osmanthus cake. I heard that some palace ladies' love are troublesome, and I am afraid that it will harm your enthusiasm." The concubine glanced at her. "Oh? Who is it?" Zhou Yanro smiled. "It's okay, it's just a reminder to everyone to be kind." Lin Wan heard it and answered immediately. "Empress, Sister Zhou said it right. We should all help each other. Last banquet, I saw her helping her very carefully." Zhou Yanro was unwilling to give up, and took advantage of the empty room where her concubine was drinking tea and said to Alan, "Go and tell the new palace girl there, Wan Yi is always snatching the risk. Let's see how she explains it." Alan clicked, slipped to Xiao Chui, and started to speak softly. Lin Wan'er looked at Chun Mei from the corner and grabbed Chun Mei. "Sister Chun Mei, go and help. Tell Xiao Chui, last time Zhou Yanro knocked down the concubine's cup, I was at peace." Chun Mei blinked. "Okay, I'll go." She walked over and pretended to chat. "Xiao Chui, there are so many things in the palace, you have to ask more." Like at the last banquet, Sister Zhou was accidentally careful, but fortunately Wan's eyes were fast. Xiao Chui heard it, and her eyebrows were browsed. "Is that right?" "I heard Alan." Before the words finished, Zhou Yanro suddenly made a mistake in dressing, and the teacup swayed, and a few drops of water came out. Lin Wan'er had quick eyes and reached out to hold her. "Sister Zhou, be careful. Don't wet the Empress's sleeves." The concubine saw her and looked at her, with a slight eyebrows. "What's going on? You all have to be careful." Zhou Yanro pretended to be grateful. "Thank you, Wan, I'm not stable for a while." But her eyes were filled with anger. Lin Wan retreated back to her original position and said to Xiaohua in a low voice, "She tried this trick again, but we didn't win. We will add more time when we clean up." The tea party was over, the concubine left, and everyone started to clean up. Lin Wan'er grabbed Lai's attitude. "Look, Xiao Chui's attitude has changed. She just didn't pay attention to Alan anymore." Liar smiled. "Yes, I just said something. She now knows that Zhou Yanro is not old." Chun Mei wiped her hands. "Wan, we are calm this time. But she is getting more and more difficult to do, and we have to think longer. Let's discuss it tomorrow." They packed up and walked out of the flower hall, and the night began to fall again. Xiaohua held the sack and said, "Sister, I'm tired, go back and take a break. The things in the palace come one by one, and will come slowly." Lin Wan pointed. "Well, go back. There will be new movements tomorrow, so we have to continue to stay." The wind blew over, and with a slight mood, they walked to the room lightly, and they thought about the next plan. On the way back to the room, the wind was still a little bit quiet, and Lin Wan walked smoothly with Xiaohua, Chun Mei, and Lin. They didn't say much, they just pointed at each other and made sure no one was following. When they opened the door, they checked the windows and doors first, and then they relaxed and sat in a circle. The lamps in the room are weak to avoid anyone outside paying attention. Lin Wan'er opened her mouth first, and her voice was low. "Everyone has seen the tea party today. Zhou Yanro's old trick came again. She missed her hand and said thank you, and her eyes were filled with fire. We were careful with this kind of small action. Xiaohua pointed at her head, rubbing her arms and said, Sister, when you hold that cup, my heart was in my throat. When a concubine blamed her, we couldn't bear it. Chunmei poured a glass of water to share it with everyone, and then said, yes, Alan always followed her and talked. Today she went to Xiao Chui to mutter again. I heard a few words, saying that you were at snatching. Fortunately, I went to chat, and Xiao Chui didn't believe her so much now. Li Ting bit her lip and glanced at the door. I think Zhou Yanro is just doing it herself. Every time she asks something, she always takes it in front of her concubine, making it difficult for people to rebel. She hurt her concubine a little at the last banquet, and this time she came again. Sister, we have to think clearly, is there anyone behind her back? Lin Wanner heard it, and she glanced slightly, picked up a cloth to wipe her hands. You said right. There is no point in this place in the palace. John, who dares to be so crazy? Zhou Yanro seems gentle, but she is actually deeply in love, and she always walks on the edge without going beyond her. I see what she says. It seems that someone gives her confidence. Maybe it is that adult, or the one who is too supervised behind her. The four of them glanced at each other, and Xiaohua couldn't help but ask in a low voice, then what should we do? As soon as she really has a backer, aren't we doing these little girls in vain? Chunmei shook her head, don't think so much, just calm the moment you see. Sister, aren't you saying you want to make a deal? We'll take a few pieces and look at each other. Whenever something happens, someone will help you. Lin Wanner thought about it and said, yes, we have to set rules first. From today on, the four of us are one line. Whoever hears the voices will have to say it in time. Don't let Zhou Yanro use those little hands to differentiate us. She stretched out her palm and everyone at the time. Xiaohua put her hand on first. Sister, I'll make you do it. It's too difficult for me to rely on myself. Chunmei smiled and slammed her hands on her. So. She grew up in the palace since she was young, and she has seen too many people unlucky. If we don't hold a group, we will be stepped on by Zhou Yanro sooner or later. Lin Er put her hand on, and her voice trembled slightly. I'm afraid of being perceived, but I don't want her to succeed. Sister, we will do whatever you say. The alliance was about 10%, and they all relaxed. Lin Wan continued, okay, then we will act separately. Xiaohua, your most familiar Alan action, from tomorrow, you stare at her. See where she went, what she said, and remember. People coming from the kitchen are coming, you can pretend to help she was busy and then called. Xiaohua responded, okay, I'll go. But what if she noticed it? Her mouth is so poisonous. Lin Wan patted her on the shoulder, just be careful. Don't just put it on as unintentional. Ask the new palace girls, they are easily missed. Chunmei continued, what about me? Sister. Lin Wani thought for a while, you're going to chat with the palace girl. You go to the tea room to walk more. Listen to whom is talking about the concubine, or the silence behind Zhou Yanro. Whenever there is new news, come back to tell us in the evening. Chunmei pointed, no problem, I already love Si Xiaowan. I remember that after the last banquet, someone mentioned the name of an adult, and I'll go to Tan Tan again. After hearing this, he hurriedly asked, Sister, where's my mission? I am not good at keeping a long eye. Lin Wan smiled, you go to the side hall to investigate. In the afternoon, the concubine often rests there. Your skill in serving tea is so good that you just pay attention to whether Zhou Yanro goes there. She loves to say the wind in front of the concubine. You should observe more and have any feelings. Lin Wan took a deep breath, okay, I'll try it. But the side hall is strictly guarding, I have to dress it naturally so that I won't be caught out. As they chatted, the air in the room became tighter. Xiaohua suddenly said in a low voice, Sister, my heart is always pounding. As soon as we find out about this alliance, Zhou Yanro reports it, we will be finished. Lin Wanner held her hand, I know, everyone is afraid. But the palace is like this, and you can eat without taking action. Think about the last tea party, we calmed down Xiao Chui. She doesn't believe in Alan now. This is Chun-Mei interrupted. Yes, I said it right. We help each other, so we are not so lonely. Just when you put your hands on, I felt a little calmer. Lin Ting pointed. Yes, I wanted to retreat, but my sister's words gave me a sense of confidence. For thousands of years, Yenro really has a backer, so we have to find out first before thinking about a solution. Lin Wani stood up, walked to the window and glanced at the outside. It's getting late, don't chat for too long. Do your business as usual tomorrow morning, remember to come back to report in the evening. Don't let people see the strangeness, it's normal. They clicked and began to clean up the lights. Xiaohua held the croaker, Chun-Mei helped her close the door. Before leaving the door, she said softly, Sister, thank you for your head. I think we can stand by. Lin Wanner smiled, everyone stands up to each other. We will learn about the game in this palace slowly. They walked out of the room, and the night wind blew. They walked a little lighter, whispering the arrangements of the next day, with new determination in their eyes. The lights of the light shook, illuminating the long palace in front of them. The next morning, the bell sounded in the palace, and Lin Wanner got up early and opened the window to let the morning light come in. She glanced at the little flowers and spring plums on the bed, and they were still rubbing their eyes. Last night's appointment made everyone have a layer of tacit understanding. Lin Wan shouted lightly, Get up, it's getting late. Remember what I said last night, each of them will do their own jobs and come back tonight. Xiaohua yawned and pointed her head around her clothes. Sister, I'll go to the kitchen first. Then Alan loved it in the morning and said she might hear something. Chun-Mei also got up and grabbed her the water pot, poured a glass of water. I'll go to the tea room to turn around. Those old women are shattering their mouths and there is always news. Little, what about you? Don't be nervous, it's natural to serve the tea. Little looked out from the corner and said in a low voice, I'll do it. There are not many people in the side hall. I'm pretending to bring tea, and see if Zhou Yenro is gone. Lin Wanner watched them and the three of them leave the door, and in a flash, she was the only one left. She took a deep breath, grabbed the broom and started to slap the room, putting it on the surface as normal, and counting every step in her heart. There is no shortage of surprise in the days in the palace, and she has to keep an eye on it so as not to make a mistake. Xiaohua first went to the kitchen, which was very hot, and the sound of the squid and the sound of the human voice were mixed together. She prepared the dishes and glanced at Alan. The woman was chatting with a few little kids, smiling sweetly. Alan said, Did you hear it? Sister Zhou has been rewarded by her concubine again. Her hands are bright and flashy, and she looks so beautiful with her face. Xiaohua pretended not to hear that, so she went over to get the plate and said, Sister Alan, are you busy? I'll help you pick up the vegetables. Alan glanced at her and said, Xiaohua, why did you, a little girl, come to the kitchen? Shouldn't you be doing things in the room? Xiaohua smiled, It's okay to be idle, come and have a look. I'm curious to hear that there are new dishes in the kitchen. As they were rushing, Alan suddenly lowered her voice, Don't think I don't know, your group of people are always staring at Sister Zhou. Her heart is not something you can understand. I heard last night that the concubine wanted to check something, saying that the token was missing. Be careful, don't get into trouble. Xiaohua's heart jumped and she asked inadvertently, Token? What token? The things in the palace have been destroyed, so there are common things. Alan hummed. He said, Don't be stupid. I heard that it was a concubine's jade pendant, which was very worthwhile. Sister Zhou said, Someone saw a palace girl sneaking into and out of the side hall. Once it was found out, it was not a trivial matter. Xiaohua said nervously, I understand, Sister Alan. If you say more, I'm so happy. She thought to herself that this was mostly released by Zhou Yenro. When she turned away from the kitchen, her brain was flying and she had to tell her sister tightly. At the same time, Chun-Mei had already slipped into the tea room, and there were several old ladies and palace ladies sitting there, drinking tea and chatting. She brought the cup of tea and said, Hello everyone, it's hot this day, I'll add water to you. An old palace girl raised her head and smiled, Chun-Mei, you kid always run around. Come, sit and listen to the interesting things we say. Chunmei sat down and put on curious, what interesting things? There's no shortage of news in the palace every day. I heard that the concubine's token was missing, is it true? The old lady was shocked. Oh, that matter is a big deal. The girl Zhou Yenro said that she saw someone wandering in the side hall last night. She heard that she was a new palace girl, always following Lin Wanner. Chunmei was shocked and smiled on the surface. Lin Wan? Isn't she an old man? Why would this matter be involved? Another palace girl interrupted, who knows? Zhou Yenro said that there is weight, and someone was sucking her waist behind her. He heard that the adult often sent people to communicate, and if it was found out, Lin Wanner would be finished. Chunmei agreed, yes, here, there is a little the wind will be a big deal. I have to be careful not to go in. She heard the news in her heart and stood up and said, I have to leave, there is something else. Thank you for saying this. After walking out of the tea room, she hurriedly found a place to take a breath, thinking, this news came quickly, and Zhou Yenro was indeed wiping her feet and had to reply quickly. Little brother walked towards the side hall with his tea plate in his arms, his heart beating so hard. She put it in normal form and knocked on the door, person, the tea is here. A sound came from inside, come in. She pushed the door, her eyes swept around, and Zhou Yenro was standing beside her, pretending to organize the vase. The concubine leaned on the chair and looked tired. Liang Yi, you are here just right. Put the tea here. Liang Yi lowered her head and put the tea, her ears listening to Zhou Yenro's silence. He only heard Zhou Yenro's soft voice, concubine, when I was patrolling last night, I saw someone wandering around here. It seemed that Lin Wan's subordinates took something and ran away. The concubine frowned, is this happening again? I didn't see the token a few days ago, and I was shaking. Are you sure? Zhou Yenro pointed, I didn't see clearly, but the group of people were always sneaking. Wani is really them, so check. Li Ting's heart sank, he quitted tightly, and said, concubine, I'll leave first. In the afternoon, the Hogong Palace began to spread rumors, and some people said that Lin Wanner stole the concubine's jade pendant, which made everyone panic. Lin Wan was sorting out things in the room when suddenly she heard a quarrel outside the door. When she went out, she saw a few Taisho was bringing people over. Lin Wan, is it you? Hearing you stealing something. She calmed down and asked, what are you stealing? Don't say, I have never touched the concubine's things. Taisho snorted. Zhou Yenro said she saw it. What else do you have to do? Lin Wanner thought to herself, this is a trap. She rushed to look for Xiaohua and Chunmei. Where are you? Come quickly. Xiaohua and Chunmei came over, and Xiaohua said in a low voice, sister, I just heard the kitchen. Alan let out a voice. Chunmei continued, the tea room is also spread all over, we have to find a way. The three of them, Lin Wan, entered the room and came to the door. Lin Yenro also came in, sister, I heard it in the side hall, Zhou Yenro said it in person. Lin Wan took a deep breath, okay, don't panic. Think about the evidence first. They said I stole jade pendants, so I'll check who has the chance to start. Xiaohua said anxiously, I'll go to the kitchen. Ask, see if Alan knows more. Chunmei said, I'll go to the tea and say something to others. Lin Wan pointed, I'll go back to the side hall and pretend to put on something and explore again. Lin Wan held their hands, don't be upset, wait for me to see the concubine first. The decoration is innocent, and it may be resolved. They quickly split their heads, and Lin Wan went straight to the side hall, and the concubine was still there. She knelt down and said, concubine, I heard that someone said I was stealing something, I was wronged. The concubine looked at her, you tell me clearly. Lin Wan looked forward, Zhou Yenro may have misunderstood. I have never entered the side hall. I can swear to heaven. At this moment, Xiaohua ran in, concubine, I have evidence. Alan said it was Zhou Yenro's own hand. The scene was in a mess, everyone said, and the concubine slapped her hands, I'm fine, stop first. Lin Wan, don't quarrel, I'll find out. As night fell, they returned to the room, Lin Wanner wiped her sweat, I've been ignored, but Zhou Yanruo's tricks are getting harder and harder. We have to speed up our pace and find out the person behind her. Xiaohua pointed, sister, right. Chunmei smiled, let's be careful next time. They continued to whisper, planning for the next step, with a determined look in their eyes. The lights on the palace road lit up again, and they stood up and prepared to face the new day. Lin Wanya woke up early in the morning, and the morning light outside the window was still refreshing. She rubbed her eyes and clicked a chicken lamp first to make the room bright. Last night's discussion was still circling in the brain. She turned around and saw Xiaohua, Chunmei and Little were getting up. Everyone was carrying the last night's determination. Xiaohua opened her mouth first and said, sister, it's morning. We'll do the plan you said last night, right? I'll go to the kitchen to find Alan, dress for casual chats, and make her call. Lin Wan ordered her head, got up, poured a glass of water to everyone. Yes, eat something to put on your stomach first. Chunmei, go to the tea and spread the words. Remember to speak naturally, don't make people suspicious. Lilia, you help me pay attention to the silence of the side hall. I will secretly go in and see the certificate myself. Chunmei replied while drinking water, don't worry, I will say that Zhou Yanruo may be trying to make trouble, so she brought it to a few old palace ladies while chatting. They love gossip and the news spreads quickly. Lai Yi said in a low voice, sister, I will be there. If Zhou Yanruo's men appear, I will send you a signal right away. After they had a simple breakfast, they moved separately. Lin Wanner stayed in the room first, dressed up and sorted out clothes. After the others left, she took a deep breath, grabbed a broom to cover it, and slowly walked towards the side hall. When people come and go, she has to walk like usual. When she passed by the garden, she saw several patrols and thought to herself that she had to speed up her pace. She turned into a path and pushed open the side of the hall with her hands. It was quiet and I could only hear the sound of the wind blowing through the shoji. She looked around and the concubine's jade pendant should have been placed on the cabinet. She didn't see the words last night, so she had to look for the trace. At the same time, Xiaohua has already entered the kitchen. The place was as popular as a market, and Alan was directing several small chefs to cut vegetables. Xiaohua walked over with a smile, Sister Alan, good morning, I'll come and get some things. I heard last night that there was news in the palace, do you know? Alan glanced at her, wiped her hands and said, you little girl always came to make a call. What news? Is it about Sister Zhou again? Xiaohua took care of her and picked up a plate of dishes, that's it. The thing that the jade pendant was not seen. Everyone said it was Zhou Yanruo who saw it. I was curious. Did she know her own feelings? Alan stopped and said softly, don't talk. Sister Zhou is not that kind of person. She also mentioned to me last night that someone was sneaking in the side hall. I heard that it might be someone next to Lin Wanner. But, I'm not sure, don't mess around everywhere. Xiaohua was surprised when she pretended to eat, and said, oh, that's amazing. I just heard that Sister Zhou has received a lot of rewards, and all of them are her. Alan immediately stopped, nonsense. Do you think she is the kind of thing that can steal? There is someone to take care of her behind her back, so how can she be? What she said is worth it, you be careful not to let her hear it. Xiaohua Xin moved and put it on, I understand, Sister Alan. I'm just curious, I'll ask 2 more questions. Next time I'll bring you something delicious to honor you. She turned away from the kitchen, grabbed the plate in her hand, thinking, there was an article in this, and Alan was obviously protecting Zhou Yanruo, so she had to tell her tightly. Chunmei went to the tea room, where there were several old palace ladies and Taishu sitting, drinking tea and chatting. She walked over with the water tank, hello everyone, I'll add water. I heard that there was a voice in the palace, about the jade pendant. An old lady raised her head and smiled, Chunmei, your news is really clear. Come, sit here and say. We are just talking, and some people say that Zhou Yanruo gave it to others. Chunmei sat down. Next, he said, yes, I heard from the kitchen people. Zhou Yanruo always said what she saw, but in fact she knew best. She had received a lot of money from her concubines. As soon as she wanted to get rid of who she wanted to get rid of, she might release her words. Another superintendent interrupted, "Your words make sense. The one behind her isn't it simple, who dares to offend her? However, that girl Lin Wanner looks so old, I don't believe she will steal things." Chunmei agreed, "Yes, maybe someone wants to frame her." In this place, a little bit of a small matter becomes bigger, and I don't think Zhou Yenro's allies believe her. When she said, watching everyone's faces, she stood up and said, "I have to leave, I have to go somewhere else. If there is new news, I will tell you again." After walking out of the tea room, Chunmei was secretly happy. These words should be quickly spread and can sway Zhou Yenro's seat. Lin Wanner was in the side hall, and he quickly looked for the cabinet. Suddenly, when she was walking outside the door, she hid tightly behind the screen, her heartbeat. I saw Zhou Yenro pushing the door in, followed by a subordinate. The man said in a low voice, "Sister, where's the certificate you said?" I went to the kitchen to hear it, and Alan said there was no new news. Zhou Yenro snorted, "I'm hiding that jade pendant, the purpose is to let Lin Wan's back. You stare at the point, don't let her people get close." Lin Wan heard this, and she was so angry that she clenched her fists and didn't dare to move. The subordinates clicked, "Okay, I'll go patrol. If you see her, I'll report you right away." Zhou Yenro turned around and was about to leave, but her subordinates suddenly stopped. "Wait, there seems to be a silence behind the screen." Lin Wanner thought to herself, "Oh," she grabbed the broom and put it in. "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm here to sweep you, I didn't expect you to be here." Zhou Yenro was stunned and squinted at her. "Lin Wanner? Why did you run away here?" Lin Wanner calmly stopped. "I thought my concubine wanted me to clean up, but I just heard something happened and came in. Do you have any questions?" The subordinate stepped forward. "Don't put it on, Sister Zhou said you are suspicious." Zhou Yenro raised her hand. "Forget it, don't quarrel first. Lin Wanner, you'd better be honest." Lin Wanner took a step back. "I'm very old. If you have evidence, go and tell the concubine." She turned away, and she felt very lucky, but fortunately she didn't show her baby. In the evening, they gathered in the room again. As soon as Xiaohua entered the door, she said, "Sister, I'm going to talk from Alan." She admitted that Zhou Yenro might be wiping her feet. Chunmei followed. The remarks I spread worked, and everyone in the tea room were discussing her. Li Ting pointed, "I saw Zhou Yenro's subordinates checking everywhere. You go when I was in the side hall, I let it go." Lin Wanya relaxed. "Okay, our plan will work. Their weakness is that their allies are not stable. We keep staring and slowly get back to the situation." They said that they had some evening meals, and everyone ate, and they knew in their hearts that the battle had just begun. The night was getting deeper and the lights in the palace were lit up. They got up and prepared to rest, knowing that they would have to face more challenges tomorrow. The next morning, the birds in the palace had not stopped crying, so Lin Wanner got up early. She opened the window and let the faint sunlight come in, turning to see Xiaohua, Chunmei and Little, who were rubbing their eyes and getting up. Everyone said they wanted to act last night, but now they are all carrying a tight sway. Xiaohua opened her mouth first, put on the palace decoration and said, "Sister, the plan we set last night must be handled today. I'll stare at Alan to see if she has any new movements. What do you think?" Lin Wan pointed at her and poured them a cup of tea and briefly said, "Yes, drink a sip first. Chunmei, go to the tea and continue to spread the conversation. Remember not to be too anxious and slowly attract discussion. Little, you are responsible for paying attention to Zhou Yenro's movements, and whenever there was a wind of swearing, he reported it to me." Chunmei picked up the teacup, drank it and replied, "Don't worry, I heard that the old palace girls were already gossiping yesterday. Today I will add some more oil and add to the point that Zhou Yenro may have hidden the evidence. They love to communicate, so it is guaranteed to be in the concubine's ears soon." Li Teng replied in a low voice, "I will wander around the side hall. If Zhou Yenro's men appear, I will come over to inform you immediately." They were eating simple breakfast and checking the steps. Lin Wanner finally said, "Today, the concubine was summoned, so we took advantage of the opportunity to take action. Remember, don't panic, and speak naturally. Xiaohua smiled. Sister, you are always so stable, I'm following you. After eating, they acted casually. Lin Wanner first went to organize the flower garden in the palace and dressed it as if nothing had happened. In fact, she wanted to observe Zhou Yanrou's silence. People came and went in the palace. The Taishu shouted flash. She walked down and thought to herself that she had to wait until the afternoon summons. At noon, Xiaohua returned from the kitchen with a silkworm on her face. Sister, I just chatted with Alan. She accidentally showed her voice and said that Zhou Yanrou went to the side hall to flip through things last night, as if she was looking for a certificate for the jade pendant. I was curious, so she hurriedly changed her words and said it was a mistake. Lin Wanner heard it and her eyebrows were slightly raised. Okay, this certificate is too small. Chunmei, where are you? Chunmei clicked. I'm back from the tea room. Those old palace ladies are in high spirits. They said that Zhou Yanrou's allies are not solid. Damn, someone heard that she had something hidden and planned to give it to us. I said, everyone would have to say something when the concubine checked it out. Li Ting interrupted, Sister, I saw Zhou Yanrou's subordinates walking around. She was nervous and said in a low voice to a supervisor in the morning. Lin Wan took a deep breath. Okay, let's use this to press her. When the concubine summoned her in the afternoon, I will open her mouth first, you can answer. In the afternoon, the concubine's summoning house was filled with people. The air was filled with the smell of fragrance, and the police announced loudly, the concubine is here. Everyone knelt down and went to the ceremony. Zhou Yanrou stood aside, her dress was bright and she was wearing a warning. She glanced at Lin Wanner, and Lin Wanner returned with a calm look. After the concubine sat down, she opened her mouth and said, Today I call you here, it's for the jade pendant. There was a sensation in the palace. I want to hear your words. Zhou Yanrou stood up first, and the voice was gentle and thorned. Concubine, I saw someone sneaking in the side hall yesterday. According to me, it must be the person next to Lin Wanner was making trouble. They always heard from all over, saying that they might have twitched their feet long ago. Lin Wan heard it and her heart sank, but she calmed down, stood up and responded, Concubine, you can't talk a lot. Sister Zhou Yanrou accused me of no evidence. Last night I heard about the jade pendant from the kitchen and the tea room. Everyone said that she had gone to the side hall herself, so why didn't she ask her first? Zhou Yanrou was stunned and immediately responded, Lin Wanyi, don't let the bloody mouth blow. I went to the side hall to help me patrol. Who knows, you should start first. Alan can prove it, I have never touched that thing. A two-in-law agreed next to him. Sister Zhou said, right, I saw Lin Wanyi wandering there yesterday. The scene suddenly became chaotic, and the concubine said with a brow, stop talking. What are you like? The palace is originally harmonious, but now it is so beautiful. Lin Wanya, what evidence do you have? Lin Wanya took a deep breath and glanced at Xiaohua. Xiaohua immediately answered, Concubine, I heard Alan in the kitchen saying that Sister Zhou Yanrou went to the side hall again last night. She said it was a patrol, but why did she have to go in the middle of the night? Chunmei also stood up, yes, Concubine, and people in the tea room were discussing. Sister Zhou's allies are unstable, and some suspect that she has hidden a jade pendant and wants to give it to others. Zhou Yanrou was anxious and turned to stare at them. You are nonsense. Alan wouldn't say that. You are colluding to frame me. Lin Wanner lowered his voice to Lin Wanner's ear. Sister, her two-in-law is coming. Lin Wanner pointed and said to the concubine, Concubine, I am not trying to be rude. But here in the palace, you have to find out a little bit of things. If anyone hides something and harms innocent people, what should I do? Why not Taishu search the side hall to see where the evidence was? Zhou Yanrou's face changed. She hurriedly grabbed a Taishu and said in a low voice, Don't listen to her nonsense. I have the care of an adult. This matter cannot be caused by this. Taishu hesitated for a moment, and the concubine opened her mouth. Okay, just search. The palace is in front of me, I want the truth. The Taishu moved quickly, and Zhou Yanrou's allies began to act small. Someone quietly grabbed Chunmei's sleeve and said, don't be troublesome, Sister Zhou will make revenge. Chunmei turned away. I only seek justice. Lin Wan maintained her composure, not speaking on the surface, and knew in her heart that this was the key. She said to Zhou Yanro, Sister, why bother to be nervous? If it's okay, let everyone see clearly. Zhou Yanro gritted her teeth and replied, Lin Wanyi, do you think you can bring down me like this? Be careful, I will regret it. The search came soon, and a two-in-law returned with a jade pendant. Concubine, I found it in the secret cabinet of the side hall, right where Zhou Yanro often goes. The concubine slapped the table. Zhou Yanro, what do you say? Zhou Yanro's face turned pale and she knelt down hurriedly. Concubine, someone must have been punished. I haven't touched it. Lin Wan said slowly, Concubine, maybe it was a mistake, but this certificate is silenced. We have to find out the person behind. The scene gradually calmed down, and the concubine ordered, remember this matter, you all retreat. Investigate again in the future. After everyone left, Lin Wanyi and her partners returned to the room. They looked at each other, and Xiaohua smiled first. Sister, we will win back the championship this time. Zhou Yanro's allies looked moved. Chunmei pointed, yes, I heard someone whispering to her, saying that she might not help her next time. Lin Zhe added, we have to keep staring at her, so as not to bite her back. Lin Wana wiped her hands, yes, rest first, I have to deal with more things tomorrow. The wind in the palace is never finished. The night fell again, and they lighted the lights and started preparing for dinner. They chatted and planned the next step, and felt that this war finally had a turnaround. The night was getting deeper, and the lights in the room were swaying, and Lin Wanya and Xiaohua sat around a few short tables. There was a simple dinner on the table, rice porridge and a few side dishes, and they ate and chatted, and their voices were low, afraid that the eyes and ears next door would hear it. Xiaohua opened her mouth first, scooped up the porridge and said, Sister, we won the matter in the afternoon. Zhou Yanro's face turned white, and her allies looked unstable. What should we do next time? Keep staring at Alan? Lin Wan clicked her head, picked up her chopsticks and put it in the bowl. Yes, Alan is a thorn, we have to find a way to let her talk more. But don't worry, this place in the palace, you have to think about it in full swing. Chunmei was chewing the dishes next to her, and said with an interface. I heard a few old palace girls discussing behind their backs. They said that Zhou Yanro's hidden things had been revealed. Someone also muttered that the one who echoed her seemed to be pounding in her heart. If we could pull him over, it would be stable. Li Yan lowered his head and drank the porridge, raised his head to agree. Sister, I was wandering around the side hall in the afternoon, and saw that the one who always looked west. His name was Xiao Li. He used to be close to Zhou Yanro, but now he looks a little panicked. Once he wants to protect himself, we have to give him a chance. Lin Wan heard this, stopped the chopsticks and looked at them. Xiao Li? The one who always runs errands by the concubine? If he is willing to tell the truth, we can dig out more. Zhou Yanro's allies were moved and she couldn't hold back. Who are you going to try it? Xiaohua smiled and put down the bowl. I'll go. I bumped into him in the kitchen today. He asked me what happened in the afternoon. I put it in distractedly, and said 2 sentences, feeling that he had something to say. Sister, you tell me how I slipped over tonight to stumble on the stuttering style? Chunmei slammed her head. Wait, it's too urgent tonight. Zhou Yanro is still planning, so we have to be careful. I'll go to the tea room tomorrow morning to see if Xiao Li appears there. Lin Wan thought for a while and said, Okay, Chunmei, go. But remember not to be too obvious, just ask in a chat. They continued to eat, and the plan was on the side, and the atmosphere in the house was very refreshing. The next morning, the smoke on the palace road had not dissipated. After Lin Wan got up, she went to the flower garden to sip water, and her eyes kept glancing at Zhou Yanro's residence. Before Xiaohua and Chunmei left, they said in a low voice, Sister, I'll stare at Xiao Li. Chunmei pointed, I'll wait in the tea. Lin Wan's dressing was fine, so she picked up the water-burning flower and thought to herself that she had to let them do it first. Not long after, Chun Mei returned from the tea room, with a hurricane on her face, holding Lin Wanner's sleeve and said, "Sister, I just chatted with Xiao Li. As soon as he saw me, he asked about yesterday's search. It was Zhou Yanro who talked to him last night and forced him to not say anything, but he seemed unhappy. I was so confused and asked him if he wanted to find a place. As soon as he said, he clicked and asked me to meet in the backyard in the afternoon." Lin Wan heard it, and her eyebrows slightly raised. "Okay, this is an opportunity. You go, but don't just go there and bring Xiaohua." Xiaohua heard it from the side and answered immediately, "Don't worry, sister, I'll follow you. After all, Yenro's people appeared, we will dress them as a way." In the afternoon, there were not many people in the backyard, and only a few palace ladies were on the ground. Chun Mei and Xiaohua agreed to wait there as an agreement. Xiao Li hurried over and said in a low voice, "You are from Lin Wanner, right? I'm not stupid. Zhou Yenro wants to give you something, but I know the matter of the jade pendant. She asked me to hide it. I originally thought it was a trivial matter, but now the concubine checked it, I have to protect myself." Chun Mei was surprised and asked, "Hidden? Then why did you help her?" Xiao Li glanced around and said in a low voice, "She promised some good things about me, and said that there was an adult covering it. But now it seems that she can't hold on herself. After checking it, she will be able to stop it. I have to explain clearly. If you want to be able to protect me, I am willing to tell the details." Xiaohua pointed at the side. "Our sister said, we won't treat people who speak truth. Do you have any evidence?" Xiao Li took out a paper from his sleeve and sent it to them. "This is the letter Zhou Yenro gave me, asked me to go to the side hall. There is her seal on it, you can use it. But don't let her know that it was what I said, otherwise I will die." Chun Mei took it and hid it, saying, "Don't worry, we will handle it safely. Sister is waiting for you to reply in the room." At this time, there was a loud noise from afar. Zhou Yenro walked over with several allies. Her face was so bright that she shouted when she saw Xiao Li, "Xiao Li, what are you fucking here? Didn't you tell you to do something?" Xiao Li was stunned, and retreated tightly, and hesitated. I'm just talking to the palace girls." Zhou Yenro stared at Chun Mei and Xiaohua. "What are you doing?" "Leaving my people far away." Chun Mei was not willing to be outdone and replied, "Sister Zhou, we are just chatting, how can you talk as much as you think?" Among Zhou Yenro's allies, there was a palace girl pulling her holding her sleeve. She said in a low voice, "Sister, don't be anxious, don't be ashamed." But Zhou Yan was so gentle that she pushed her out. "You guys helped me yesterday, but now you are soft? If you find anything from Lin Wanner, you can't escape." The palace girl replied dissatisfiedly, "We are helping you, not your slaves. You are so furious that you are so furious, don't hold everyone." The scene started to stir up for a moment, and other palace girls were watching, and some people whispered. Zhou Yenro was so panicked this time, and all her allies were dispersed. Lin Wan heard the silence, walked around nowhere, dressed it as a road, and said, "Don't quarrel, the palace is strict, and the concubine doesn't like seeing blood." She glanced at Xiao Li and smiled slightly. "Brotherly, is there something to say?" Xiao Li pointed, but said nothing. Zhou Yenro saw the situation and became even more angry. She turned to Lin Wan's head. "Don't pretend to be kind. This matter is not over, and I will make you regret it." Lin Wan's eyes returned with a calm look. "Sister, why bother to be angry? We are all thinking about harmony in the palace." Zhou Yenro gritted her teeth, pulled her allies away, and walked away with a low voice. "You have stood firm for me, otherwise I will let you go with it." After everyone dispersed, Lin Wanner returned to the room with spring plums and small flowers. Li Yan was already waiting there. As soon as he saw them entering the door, he asked, "What's the matter?" "I heard that it was in the backyard." Chun Mei took out the paper and said, "Sister, look, this was given by Xiao Li. Zhou Yenro's handwriting has been marked. We have to use this as a testimony." Lin Wanner took it, glanced at it, and pointed. "Good thing. But you can't hurry, we have to confirm whether it is true or not. I'll find a chance to let the concubine see it tomorrow." Xiaohua smiled. "Sister, you always have a way." Zhou as Now Yenro's allies were fighting inside, so he took advantage of the opportunity to pull people. Li Ting added, yes, I'll pay attention to the dissatisfied palace girl and see if she's willing to come. Lin Wanner took a sip of tea, and the water swelled her throat and said, okay, everyone will act separately. But remember, on the surface, it's still gentle, so don't let Zhou Yenro catch the handle. They continued to discuss. The light of the light reflected on their faces, the night was shining, and the lingering layer in the palace was wide open, and who would say that they were not sure what would happen next? As the night passed quietly, the morning light in the palace leaked from the pane. Lin Wanner got up early, tidied up her dress and greeted Xiaohua, Chunmei and Liquor to gather at the low table. They only got the letter yesterday. Zhou Yenro's seal was clearly marked on the paper, but everyone knew in their hearts that they had to verify the authenticity of this thing first, otherwise they would cause trouble if they were wrong. Sister, I took another look at the paper yesterday. Chunmei opened her mouth first. She took out the strips from her sleeve and placed them on the table. The seals look real. I think Zhou Yenro's handwriting is her intentional trap. We have to think of a stable way to let the people around her concubine take a look. Lin Wan clicked her head, picked up the words and glanced at it, and then put it back on the table. Yes, don't be anxious. Chunmei, go to the tea and sway, pretend that the paper is exposed, so that Eunuch Li or who will see it. Just say it was on the road, don't just say who it is. In this way, if the concubine checks it, we will push the boat. Xiaohua bit her lip and said with a snatch, Sister, this is a big risk. If Zhou Yenro noticed it first, she would bite her back. Do you remember the last time she broke the blame? We have to send Lean to watch the disheveled palace girl first, Alan. She looked soft yesterday. If she was willing to change jobs, she could help us more witnesses. After hearing this, Li Teng immediately said, I'll go. I'll go to the laundry room in the afternoon and Alan is always there. When she had a quarrel with Zhou Yenro yesterday, her face was inconsistent. I put it on a chat and asked her what she thought of Zhou Yenro. If she had the intention, I'll take her to see her sister again. Lin Wanner thought about it and pursed her lips. Okay, that's all. Chunmei, you can do it first and come back at noon to report it. Li, move in the afternoon, but remember not to be too anxious. As soon as Alan was still hesitating, just say more good things and pull her. Everyone should be dressed in a gentle manner on the surface, and they have many eyes in the palace. They said that they were preparing their heads. Xiaohua got up and poured a cup of tea to Lin Wanner. Sister, don't worry, I'll keep an eye on it. If Zhou Yenro's people do it, I'll come back to communicate immediately. Not long after, Chunmei left. She carried a bucket on her back and put it in a way to get water, and walked towards the tea. There are not many people on the palace road, but occasionally too much is coming in a hurry. After Chunmei arrived at the tea room, she pretended to put water on it, secretly took out the letters from her sleeves, put them on the wooden rack beside her, and started chatting with a palace girl who had passed by as if nothing had happened. After a while, the old lady Eunuch Li shook in. He glanced at the paper on the wooden rack, glanced at the eyebrows, picked it up and looked. What is this? Eunuch Li asked in a low voice. Chunmei was surprised and turned around. Oh, I don't know. I was there just now. It looks like a line of words, do you know? Eunuch Li was so eye-catching that he looked at the seals seriously. His face changed. This Zhou Yenro's thing? Why would she lose this? Chunmei shook her head and said, How could I know? I'm just passing by. Do you want to show her to the concubine? Eunuch Li hesitated and stuffed the bars back into the wooden frame. Don't worry, I have to ask. Don't say anything, I'll find you whenever there is anything. Chunmei clicked her head and left without any reason, and she felt secretly proud. When she returned to the room, she grabbed Lin Wanner's sleeve and said in a low voice, Sister, it's done. Eunuch Li saw it. He realized it was Zhou Yenro and said he wanted to check it out. I left without saying much. Lin Wanner heard this and smiled slightly. Okay, this step is right. When the concubine's people take action, Zhou Yenro panicked. We will be calm when we come over Alan again. In the afternoon, Lieutenant went to the laundry room. There was a lot of hot spots, and several palace ladies were rubbing clothes at the pool, and Alan was among them. She saw Lian raised her head and said, "Oh, it's you, are you here to help?" Lian smiled, picked up a piece of cloth and pretended to wash it. "Yes, it's okay to have your hands free. You and Zhou Yanro had a very quarrel with each other in the backyard yesterday. She has always been a big temper, aren't you wronged?" Alan stopped, glanced around, and said in a low voice, "What are you wronged?" She thought everyone was her followers, and I didn't have that mind. Yesterday she forced me to stand in a row, and I was so angry that I was so angry. Now looking at her virtues, allies have dispersed. Where are you? What does Sister Lin say? Lin Yi felt a little nervous. My sister said, people who speak reason should treat them well. If you think Zhou Yanro is unreliable, why not come here to us? At least you won't let you eat. Alan bit her lip and thought for a while. I think about it. She threatened me and said that she would make me look good whenever I betrayed her. But can you really protect me? Of course, Li Ting patted her on the shoulder. Sister never speaks nothing. Don't worry, I'll take you to see her in the evening and tell you your concern. As he was speaking, he was spreading his steps from afar. Zhou Yanro walked in with two palace ladies. Her eyes were sharp, and when she saw Alan and Lin talk, her face darkened. Alan, are you secretly hiding here? And you, Lin, don't think that I don't know you're doing something. Alan was stunned and took a step back. I didn't care, I was just washing my clothes. Zhou Yanro stared at her. You were so upset yesterday, and you were going to hang out with them today? Do you know that Shaoli? He dares to carry me. Do you want to try it? She turned her head and shouted to the palace girl beside her, go and come to Shaoli. I have to ask who he was talking to yesterday. The palace girl ran away, and soon Shaoli was brought in. His face turned pale. As soon as he saw Zhou Yanro, he lowered his head. Sister, are you looking for me? Zhou Yanro walked forward and said softly, what did you say to Chunmei yesterday? Don't think I don't know that if you spread your word, you won't be able to survive. Shaoli stammered, I didn't say anything, just talk about it. At this time, Lin Wanner walked away from a distance. She heard the silence and dressed it on the way, saying, don't quarrel, the laundry room is a place to fuck. Sister Zhou, what's wrong with you? Brother Li is fine. Zhou Yanro turned her head and her eyes were on fire. Don't you wear it. Is this matter related to you? Shaoli is my subordinate, don't try to pull him away. Lin Wanyan smiled faintly, how can I be that meaning? We are all sisters in the palace, so we should be gentle. If you want to ask, don't be as arrogant as you pass it to your concubine's ears, everyone will eat. Shaoli saw this and said nervously, Sister, I really didn't care about you. I just said something small, don't be angry. Zhou Yan stomped her feet with a soft temper, but the surrounding palace ladies were watching, so she had to pull Shaoli away, and walked around and threatened, you give me the old ways, otherwise I will regret it. The scene gradually calmed down, and Alan sighed and said to Little Man, look, that's what she is like. Sister, I'll go find you tonight. Lin Wanner clicked her head and took Little Flower back to the room. Chunmei was already waiting there. As soon as she saw them entering the door, she asked, Sister, what's the case in the backyard? I heard that Zhou Yanro is feeling sad again. Lin Wan sat down and took a sip of water. Okay, Alan is coming soon. Eunuch Li should check this article. We will see the silence tomorrow. Zhou Yanro's inner part is cracked, so we have to calm down while we are at the right time. Xiao Hua smiled and said, Sister, you really have a way. Now that her allies disperse, we will be in the forefront. They continued to chat, and the lights lit up again. The night in the palace was slowly setting. Everyone was planning on it, and they all understood that this game was not over yet, and the potential trap was still waiting. The night wind blows into the window, with a hint of silence, and their voices come low, like an invisible battle, quietly curling the next step. As the night passed quietly, the morning light in the palace once again came from the pane. Lin Wanner got up early and greeted Xiaohua, Chunmei and Liquor to gather at the low table. Their plan yesterday has taken the first step, and we are waiting for news from Eunuch Li now. the air in the room was still a little damp, so Xiaohua poured a cup of tea and gave it to everyone. Everyone drank and spoke, and the sound was low so that the eyes and ears of the outside could not be heard by the eyes and ears. Sister, Chun Mei had a pretty hand yesterday. Li Teng opened her mouth, rubbed her eyes, and it seemed that she hadn't had a good sleep all night. Eunuch Li took the words and thought she was busy checking it. If Zhou Yanro jumped around, we would have to calm down Alan. She said she was coming last night, and I saw that she was already feeling in her heart. Lin Wan clicked her head, picked up the teacup and took a sip. Yes, Alan is the key. If she really riposted, she could give us more evidence. She knew Zhou Yanro's weakness best. Chun Mei, you go and listen. Did Eunuch Li do anything? We can't just wait, we have to start first. Chun Mei responded with a sound, stood up from the bed, and straightened her hair briefly. I'll go to the tea room to turn around and put it in like water. Whenever I meet Eunuch Li's people, I will ask 2 questions at will. Don't make people suspicious. After she said that, she grabbed the bucket and walked out, and Xiaohua stood up. I'll accompany you. Sister said right, there are only one person who is prone to something wrong. Lin Wanner watched them leave and turned to Linner. What about you? What did Alan say last night? She is really willing to come? Lien sat up straight and lowered his voice. She really aroused Zhou Yanro. Yesterday, Zhou Yanro scolded her in the laundry room, and Alan's face was green. She said that Zhou Yanro was leaning against those 2 in-laws behind her backyard, and she contacted the valuables in the backyard in private, hoping to attract more people. But Zhou Yanro was anxious and often showed her food. For example, the last time she asked Shaoli to steal the concubine, but Shaoli didn't do it, so she threatened him and said she wanted to report it. Alan saw it in her eyes and thought she couldn't rely on her. Lin Wan heard it and her eyebrows were slightly raised. This is a good opportunity. If Alan can prove that Zhou Yanro and valuable people come, we can use this to suppress her. Zhou Yanro has always thought she was a spirit, and once her allies disperse, she will be isolated. Go and bring Alan over, just say we are waiting for her here. Remember not to let Zhou Yanro follow her. Lin Wu clicked his head, got up and put on a shirt. I'll go to the backyard to find her. She should be helping in the kitchen now. I'll dress it up to get the food and pull her to the corner to talk. After saying that, she also went out, and Lin Wanyi was the only one left in the room. She picked up a hairpin and played with it. Her eyes looked out the window. People came and went on the palace. The surface was peaceful, but there was an undercurrent below. Not long after, Li Tang brought Alan into the door. Alan looked a little tight, and when she entered the house, she looked around and Lin Wan stood up and asked her to sit down. Alan, come and sit down. Don't be afraid, this is safe. Alan sat down and pursed her lips. Sister Lin, I'm here. But I'm afraid that she will investigate Zhou Yanro. Yesterday she threatened Shaoli, and I heard that Shaoli was called to ask this morning. If she knew that I had turned around, can you protect me? Lin Wanner smiled and patted her hand. Of course, that's true. We didn't just pull people at will, we'll tell you the truth. Since you're not Zhou Yanro, why didn't you say it earlier? How much do you know about her things? For example, what's going on with her contact with valuable people? Alan took a deep breath and said in a low voice, she always said she had a backstage, saying that she had come with the 3rd prince's servant. Last year when she had to send a message in the palace, she secretly heard some news and asked someone else to sue her. Shaoli was caught by her. When he went to peek at the concubine's letter in front of him, Zhou Yanro said that she could help him get rid of her, but in fact she was afraid of being exposed. Now that her allies have disbanded, she is probably in a hurry to calm down. Xiaohua pushed the door in at this time and saw Alan in, and hurriedly closed the door. Sister, Chun Mei said that Eunuch Li had started to check. He found 2 supervisors and said that it was Zhou Yanro's seal last time. Zhou Yanro heard the voice in the morning and went to find Shaoli in a hurry. I just heard her screaming on the road. Lin Wan heard it and her eyes lit up. That's right. We have to use this opportunity quickly. Alan, since you know her handles, can you help us? Let Shaoli know that he doesn't have to be afraid of Zhou Yanro, we can give him a way out. Alan thought for a while and said, I can try it. Shaoli was soft, so I'll tell him that he would turn to you here. When Zhou Yanro saw him leave, she panicked. As she was talking, Chunmei came back. She lowered her voice as soon as she entered the door. Sister, something happened. Zhou Yanro had a quarrel with Eunuch Li in the backyard. She said that the words were fake, and that someone would defeat her. Eunuch Li didn't reply to her head, but he didn't believe it, looking at her expression. Zhou Yanro was so angry that she threatened Shaoli on the spot that if he dared to talk too much, he would be unable to take it. Lin Wani stood up and walked to the window to glance. She is anxious, this is a good omen. We can't wait, we have to let Shaoli know our plan. Alan, go and tell him, just say we have the certificate to protect him. Little brother, please accompany her, don't let Zhou Yanro's people stay. Alan and Li Teng got up and prepared to leave. Xiaohua followed. I'll go guard the door, and I'll come for thousands of years. I can communicate with you. After they left the door, only Lin Wanner and Chunmei were left in the room. Chunmei sat at the table and asked lightly, Sister, do you do this? If Zhou Yanro fights against it, will we all have hands? Lin Wan shook her head. It's not enough, but we have to calm down first. When Alan brings Shaoli, we will have more codes. Remember, the battle in the palace depends on the mind, not the crowd. Outside, Little took Alan to Shaoli. There were not many people on the palace road, and Alan walked fast, and said, Shaoli is so cute. I'll go talk to him, he should hear it. They turned a corner and saw Shaoli wiping sweat around. Zhou Yanro stood nowhere, staring at him. Zhou Yanro saw Alan and her face darkened. Alan, what are you going to fuck here? Shaoli is my business, don't interfere. Alan replied with a stern head, I'm here to ask, does he have any questions? Sister, you always threaten people, are you afraid that everyone will rebel? Zhou Yanro stepped forward, her voice was filled with anger. Rebellion? Who dares? Shaoli, tell her, are you mine? Shaoli lowered his head and hesitated. I'm fine. Lai pulled Alan, let's go, don't pay attention to her. They took Shaoli and sneaked to a remote corner. Alan said to him in a low voice, Shaoli, don't be afraid. Zhou Yanro is unreliable. Sister Lin can protect you. She has evidence that Zhou Yanro is making trouble. When you come, we will deal with her together. Shaoli hesitated for a moment, looked around, and said, okay, I heard you. She threatened me, I've been suffering. The movement here is not very quiet, so Zhou Yanro can see it from afar. She gritted her teeth with anger and turned to find her remaining subordinates. You follow me, we have to start first. Lin Wani's group of people who want to kill me, I can't let her succeed. In the room, Lin Wan heard the sound of her feet outside, and Chunmei pushed the door in. Sister, Alan and the others are back, carrying Shaoli. Alan led Shaoli into the door, and everyone sat around. After Shaoli sat down, he said in a low voice, Sister Lin, I'm here. Zhou Yanro will fight back. Do you have any plans? Lin Wanner smiled, yes, we'll come step by step. Let's calm you down first. After Eunuch Li's investigation tomorrow, we will use evidence to suppress her. The battle in the palace depends on who will endure it. Everyone continued to chat, the lights were getting brighter and the night was covered with a quiet sound. The sound in the house was still so low and detailed, like a whisper in the wind, ready to welcome tomorrow's change. As the night passed quietly, the morning light in the palace entered the room again. Lin Wanner got up early and asked everyone to continue the previous words. She watched Xiaohua, Chunmei, Li, Alan and Shaoli sit around. The air in the room was still the dampness of last night. Everyone's faces were a little tired, and no one talked much. Shaoli, are you really determined to be with us? Lin Wanner opened her mouth, her voice calmly, as if she was asking about a common thing. She poured him a cup of tea and stared at him. Shaoli pointed his head and wiped his sweat. Sister Lin, I am really suffering from Zhou Yanro. She is always threatening. She sent someone to stare at me last night. How dare I not come? As long as you can protect me, I will say anything. Chunmei interjected from the side, okay, we have to act quickly. Uniquely probably has news today. You said, when Zhou Yanro sees you turn around, how will she fight back? Li Ting shook his head. She was anxious. Last night I heard that she went to find several of her subordinates and said she wanted to start first. Sister, we have to go first and talk to Uniquely. Alan pursed her lips. I'll go. I know Zhou Yanro's handles, and I have evidence of her coming with the third prince's servant. Uniquely asked me. I can help me explain it clearly. Lin Wanner thought for a while and said, Okay, Alan, you and Xiaohua first go to the tea room to turn around, and put it in as a way to get water, and see the opportunity to chat with Uniquely's people. Remember not to reveal your bags, we are few and stable. Chunmei, you and Lai are guarding the door, and Yanro has arrived for thousands of years, so it is easy to communicate with Fengwan. Everyone responded and stood up and moved. Xiaohua pulled Alan out. Come, Alan, we walk slowly, and say. Whenever we meet her people, we will do nothing. Only Lin Wanner and Shaoli were left in the room. She turned around and asked him, Shaoli, do you know what Zhou Yanro's contacts are going on? How did she and the valuables come? Shaoli said softly, she always wants to get rid of people by stealing news. When she was in the palace last year, she heard the third prince's servant talk to the concubine in the backyard and used it. Later, she pulled a few too much supervision and told privately, trying to attract more people. But she was anxious and often showed her food. For example, the last time she asked me to steal the letter from her concubine, but I didn't do it, so she threatened me and said she wanted to report it. I was really scared, so I wanted to turn it over. Lin Wan heard it and smiled slightly. You are right, we will use this to press her. When Uniquely finds out the words, we will confront each other head-on. The place in the palace depends on evidence. After a while, the outside head was walking and Chunmei pushed the door in. Sister, something happened. Zhou Yanro brought her people here. She was so angry that she yelled when she saw Alan and Xiaohua in the tea. Lin Wani stood up with her eyes calmed down. Okay, then come. Let's not hide and let her come in. Shaoli, you sit down, don't panic. As soon as the door opened, Zhou Yanro came in, followed by two palace ladies behind her. She stared at Shaoli. Shaoli, dare you carry me? Alan, you are such a traitor. Her voice was sharp and she was rumbling in the room. Alan was not willing to be outdone. Sister Zhou, you have to bear your allies first. What is the ability to threaten people? We have evidence that everyone in the palace knows what you and the attendant of the third prince came. Zhou Yanro stepped forward and her face turned green. Nonsense. You guys dare to defeat me? Eunuch Li's investigation is fake, right? Shaoli, tell me clearly, did Lin Wan pull you over? Shaoli lowered his head and was calmed by Lin Wan's words. Shaoli, don't be afraid. We have the certificate from Eunuch Li, and your words are certificates. When you say it, everyone is free. Chunmei added from the side, Zhou Yanro, you always rely on threats, and you will eat the food one day. Last night, Eunuch Li had found out that the seal on the letter was yours. When you came with the precious people, the one in the palace said it was too much. Zhou Yanro was trembling with anger. You dare. I want to tell the queen, so you can't afford to leave. At this moment, the door opened again and Eunuch Li walked in. He stared at everyone and glanced at him. What's the noise? Where's the rules in the palace? His voice was neither anxious nor anxious, but he had power. Lin Wanner stood up and went to the ceremony. Father-in-law, you are here just in time. We are talking about Zhou Yanro. What are the results of your investigation? Eunuch Li coughed. Is the word fake? Humph, I've found it out. The seal is indeed Zhou Yanro. She and the third prince's servants came from each other, and told privately, trying to get people. I have to report this. The queen will not let it go easily. Zhou Yanro's face turned pale. Dad, father, you heard me that this is a mistake. Eunuch Li snatched his hand. Is it wrong? The evidence is snatching. Do you still want to make a fool of yourself? Shaoli, come on. Shaoli took a deep breath. Father-in-law, it's true. Zhou Yanro threatened me to steal the letter, but I dare not ignore it. But she herself was afraid of showing off her food. now that her allies have dispersed, I want to turn to Sister Lin. Eunuch Li pointed at him. Okay, then this is settled. Zhou Yanro, follow me. The queen will deal with it. When Zhou Yanro was taken away, she turned around and glared at Lin Wanner, but everyone knew that this game was settled. The people in the room relaxed their voices, and Alan smiled. Sister, we're here to do it. Lin Wanner sat back on the seat and patted Shaoli on the shoulder. You did a good job. From now on, everyone will be their own people. In the afternoon, the news in the palace was flying everywhere, and the queen summoned Lin Wanya. The golden and blue radiant in the hall made people dazzled. The queen sat in the high position and smiled. Lin Wanyi, I heard that you have resolved the affair of the lower palace. It's really not simple. From a low-level palace girl to now, it depends on one's heart. Lin Wanner knelt down. Empress, I am just responsible. The peace in the rear palace depends entirely on you. The queen waved. Get up. I see you have the ability, and the emperor heard about it. 2 days later, he will summon you. Show me well, there is no shortage of your seat in the palace. When he walked out of the hall, a warm feeling surged in Lin Wan's heart. She looked back and saw Xiaohua and Chunmei waiting outside the door. Sister, what's the matter? Xiaohua asked. Lin Wanya smiled. The queen said, the emperor wants to see me. Our hard days have passed. At night, everyone gathered in the room, and the lights were warm. Li said, Sister, we will follow you since you entered the palace. Now you have to get it, and we are at ease. Lin Wan shook her head. It's not my personal merit. It's everyone together. The battle in the palace made me realize that it's not power, but sincerity and wisdom. Shaoli said softly, Sister, I will hear you in the future. Alan added, Yes, we are all sisters. The night was getting deeper and everyone dispersed. Lin Wanner sat by the window, looking at the palace lights. She remembered the days since before. She was born in a humble background and was working step by step, and now she finally stood firm. The treacherous scattered away, leaving only a peaceful rest, like a dream, and everything was well after waking up.